So welcome back to another video here in Pennsylvania, folks. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, April 22nd. I'm doing a number of edible and medicinal plant videos here in the property behind where I live. It's actually owned by my landlord. I think the most previous video I uploaded was on celandine, and in that video I showed you another plant out here, and it's called Spring Beauty. I think I've showed it to you in some other videos too, but it has some edible qualities to it, and a few medicinal ones too. But it's growing all along here. It's a quite common spring plant, mixed in with quite a few other ones here too. So there's a little trail back here, but here is our Spring Beauty. It has these little beautiful white flowers with usually a dash of pink stripes in there. There's a bunch here, bunch there. They grow all over the place. Sometimes this time of year the forest floor is just covered with them. But the main edible part is the root, or the corm it's called. So I'm going to dig some of those up. So normally I wouldn't recommend digging up wildflowers, but we are on private property, and this is not an endangered species in any way, so it'll be okay to dig just a little bit of these up. So if you dig one up, this is what they look like. This is a slightly bigger one. They can be smaller. It's often referred to as like little potatoes. That's what they look like. So I'm going to clean this one off, and we'll find a place to sit down and talk about this. Alright, so here it is, the Spring Beauty, Claytonia virginica. So again, here's what the flowers look like. Very common. They're growing back here by the hundreds, if not the thousands. They're quite common. And here's what that little root, or the corm it's often called, that's what it looks like right there. Pretty decent sized one. So I've got it all cleaned off. We'll be munching on that a little bit later. But yeah, it's named after someone named John Clayton. I think he was born in 1694. Died up into the 1770s, 1773 I believe. He was a biologist or a botanist that came over from Europe to Virginia. That's why it's named after him, Claytonia. And virginica, because that's where this plant was first discovered, probably by John Clayton. So it's named after Virginia. Obviously it grows elsewhere, most parts of the eastern US. So before we get into the whole edibility aspect of this plant, I do just want to mention once again, normally on public land you wouldn't dig up wildflowers of any kind. You can get in trouble for that. But I am here on private land, but you know, I only dug one up, and when you are foraging and looking for wild edibles, it's always a good idea just to take what you need, a little sampling. You don't need to take a lot, so it's okay it was okay for me to dig this up. They're growing back here by the hundreds, if not the thousands, so it's okay. But of course, if I was dealing with a rare or some kind of endangered plant, I wouldn't have dug this up. But let's talk about the edibility of it. Some sources say that the leaves themselves are edible. They can be cooked and eaten, but I read that they weren't nothing really all that palatable about them. We'll nibble on one here. I mean, they're not toxic, so even if I don't like it, it's not going to hurt me. They're kind of a succulent, kind of thick and juicy. Maybe not juicy, but thick. You know, they don't taste bad. So I mean, if you needed to nibble on something, yeah, you can mix them with other spring greens. Not bad. They're not very big. But this big old root thing here, I think technically it's called a corm. That's what it looks like, or like a little potato. You can cook them. I think I did years ago, but you can just probably eat them like this too. That's what they look like. You know, the taste isn't bad. Probably better cooked, but there you go. They are edible. Yeah, probably, like I said years ago, I did cook some up, or just one. A lot better that way, but there you go. They are edible, folks. They do have the consistency of like little potatoes. All right. You know, I'm sitting here getting that aftertaste. I would say definitely cook them. When I cooked them that one time years ago, they actually tasted pretty good, but raw, not so much. Kind of like if you eat a raw potato. Raw potatoes aren't horrible, but they do taste a lot better when they're cooked. So, and we'll take this one inside and cook it. I had to drink a little Propel to get the taste out of my mouth. Not a bad taste, but just not a pleasant one if you eat them raw. As far as medicinal values go, let me check my notes here. Not a whole lot medicinally. I did come across that some Native American tribes would powder the roots to help people with convulsions, and some tribes thought it would help prevent conception, you know, having children and stuff like that. So, but other than that, not a whole lot of medicinal qualities to it. But anyway, you know, something I'm gonna say in all these videos, you know, before you do partake of the wild potato yourself, the Spring Beauty, make sure you do your own research. You know, make sure what you're digging up is actually the Spring Beauty bulb, if you choose to do so. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend doing it on public land, like state parks or anything like that. You could get in trouble. But you know, there's other plants growing nearby that could also, you can mix it, could confuse its roots with, so make sure you're getting the right one. But yeah, do your own research first. Don't just trust what I say or anybody else, because doing so could get you in trouble or could harm your life in some ways. Make sure you do your own research, folks. But that'll be it for the Spring Beauty then, folks. It is one of my favorite spring plants, usually one of the first to come up in the spring. And they just, like I said, I was just hiking somewhere recently in one of my Union Canal videos, and the forest floor, there were just thousands of them just covering like a carpet across the floor. So they are beautiful. Like I said, they are edible, probably better cooked, like I said. All right, as always, folks, thanks for coming along, and we'll probably see you on another edible medicinal plants video soon enough.